All right, my brother. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Uh-oh. Where you at? Where you at? There you are.
Uh,
Yeah, you didn't want to join us yet. A delayed reaction that time, huh?
uh, just listening for the "Let There Be."
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. You the light that is being shown then, huh?
Oh no!
Hallelujah. Praise Yah. Oh wow, wow, we made it. We made it. Hallelujah. We down here baking, of course. Down in Texas, we the heat wave is on, man. So if we go to frying, if you see smoke, you know that we here in Texas, right? We are here. All right. Seem like they are beginning to come in the room here. Get a shout out to those of you that are present, at least in the chat. And I know you rest of you are standing by, getting ready and getting relaxed, getting your drinks together. That way you can be able to sip and listen at the same time. Huh? That's
Oh yeah.
always a good thing in that. I'm saying that I want to make sure. Let me open mine here real quick, because for some reason the your mouth could get dry real quick. Real quick in there. Let me move this over here. All right, my brother. Well, we want to embrace some things on tonight. And one of the things we want to embrace is honesty. Now, it is a big umbrella, right? Of course, a word that we use, an English word that we use in that. But I used it because I think it will be familiar with us, and then we can figure out how to make this thing happen. So I want to look at it. I mean, we could go so many ways, and I know that I'm trying to. Well, my main thing is before I shoot a question to you is I want us to understand of what I'm trying to say here, and there's so many other things that we can say, but I want to think about honesty is being truthful, right? And what we say is important, but I want us to look at a little different, right? I mean, it's always there. We can always look at it a little different. I want us to just, for the sake of discussion, to look at and to do. So I want us to look at honesty is what you do.
Yes.
Okay, you have to be able to say some things, but I want us to make sure that we understand that honesty is something that we do. And so what does that look like? What does that look like? And I had as I put something before my wife earlier, and then maybe I will hold on to it until the Shabbat, but I don't know, I may let it go here too, but we'll see what happens. It kind of geared me to this is we have to embrace this in order to have communication and then have a walk. But I want to focus more, or try my best to focus more on the do part of it, right? The do part of it. And then us choosing honesty, and then also being, and this is the highlight of it, being honest with ourselves. So we want to start with ourselves, and then it would lead out, because I found out that that would be very, very important for all of us as we walk it in the things of the Father, is that we have to be honest with ourselves. And I think you heard me echo that a lot, is to be honest with yourself. That's where you have to start at. And it have to be something that you have to do. I think the one of the worst things is you could do is to deceive yourself. But most times, if you start saying some things, then you follow through on what you do, you know. So I guess what I'm saying is, if I say I'm going to the store, now I usually follow through that with the activities of going to the store, right? So I usually say it, but if I never go to the store physically, then it does no good. It's just empty words, right? It didn't mean nothing. It's meaningless. So it is with honesty, because what happens is the honesty that I talk about tonight, because it's so much area. But I would try to paint a picture where, and what I'm feeling in my heart about it at this time, that would can help us to embrace one another, is the honesty that we do, right? It's the honesty that we do, and communicating with one another. So as we communicate with one another, this honesty that I'm talking about tonight, and I want to, when we think about our scriptures, and we will try to interject some of those scriptures, is uprightness, right? Someone that is right standing with the Father, walking in the covenant, is what I'm talking about. Because everyone, we desire that everyone be honest. Of the English word of what we're talking about, being honest, and what that means, and what that entails, and what that is attached to. And so I just want us to look in just a little area of another, maybe another picture. Nothing new, right? There's nothing new under the sun, nothing new, but just the idea for us to look at. And maybe this is something that would be redundant to you, something that you have already looked at. But I want us to realize that honesty is to do. And that's how people form relationships and connect. But we're gonna try to bring up some challenging questions, and then those challenging questions may not be so much that I'm gonna give you the answer to them, but I want you to be able to meditate and plunder what will be said, right? And then maybe it'll be an area that you can say, "Oh, I never seen it like that," right? Never seen it like that. So that's very important. Well, my brother, I'm gonna slide you in here real quick. When you think about honesty, just how you feel about it. What is some of the ideas that you have?
Us, shalom, shalom.
Shalom,
Um,
bro.
a lot of what you had brought out, just being transparent is probably my number one trait towards honesty. I love transparency. Um, I just don't like veiled things. I don't like phoniness. So I think someone being like in the world, people, the languages, being real. I consider that being honest. Somebody that's just a genuine person. They don't have anything to hide. They're unashamed. I would consider somebody who acts that way. Confidence, not boastfulness, just in the sense of just being sure, and also something that's not afraid to be corrected or be like somebody may say something and they'll humbly be able to say, but it also may not be that.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
know, like they can share their opinions without trying to make it a fact, if you will, something like that. And then something else you really said, somebody who's willing to, I know we say it just we casually, but tell you the truth. Like sometimes people won't. Um, how can I say? Somebody who could tell me I've got food on my face, because you'll walk by 9 people, and only one of them is gonna be like, "Hey, you got something right there." But I like that. I like that. That's the type of person I try to be, because I know if you see someone with something on their face, you don't want to just let it just slide, right? So I think all those things are the common things I would personally consider honest. Um, Owning up to their mistakes, I would consider that an honest person. Somebody who's willing to say, "Yeah, I was wrong about that," or "Yeah, I was off," something like that. Um, that's probably it in a nutshell, though. I could
Okay,
get
okay.
into details, but I'm trying to keep it vague on purpose.
Right, right, exactly. And I think that's, I wanted you to echo that because I think that even me or the others that may be listening or here present will have that same thing. And I want to take us deeper. I want us to look at the honesty is how does it really work? You were saying, and I use something that's on your face or whatever. But I want us to look deeper of what honesty, because it has to deal with somebody else, right? So first you be honest with yourself, because in order for you to betray it or to do it to somebody else, you have to be honest with yourself first, right? So that's how you will succeed if you will be, say honest and upfront. Other words, if I cannot say that I am going out and tear down a motor on my car and then put it back together again. Is that something that I can really do? Do I have the tools to do that? So when talking with somebody or even just thinking with myself, I say, I'm gonna go out here and tear this engine down, and then I'm gonna put it back together, and I don't have no tools or nothing. So I need to stop and think, that can I really do that? Am I capable of doing that? Right? And then if I choose to overlook that maybe I'm a person, I'm just using me, I'm a person that's not mechanically inclined to do those things. You ask me what a ratchet is, I might say, well, what is that? Or or what's oil? What's that? What's the oil filter? I don't know. But I'm gonna change this engine. And it's something that uh, when we look at that, maybe that is something that we cannot do. So sometimes the qualifications of a certain task, we may not be able to do it. And so, in order us to be more effective, then I have to come to conclude, well, look, I don't know how to do this. So I need to either find somebody that can do this, or I need to study to do this, or I'm going to need help. Right. And that's going to be a more effective way in order to handle this. So I have to be honest with myself. So you come along and you ask me, you say, I'm gonna tell you. I say I'm gonna take that engine out of my car, and then you say, do you know how to do that? And I say, oh yeah, sure. I know how to do that. I can take that engine out. I looked at them. I seen people take them out. You know, and as you standing there, you see how I'm fumbling with it. You see where I don't know how to do how to what get a ratchet. I know what a flat tip screwdriver is, right? So as you looking into that, then there's something is you trying to build here is, does he really understand what he's doing? Right? He said he did, but did he really understand? So this is a point where I'm saying is honesty is a place in there where that has to be built in relationship, and then it has to be built with yourself. So you just don't wake up one day and say, I got honesty, because honesty has to be built, it has to be worked on, it has to be done, right? And so many times people will label you as an honest person, but they can only label you with that if they interact with you. right? If they had associations with you, if they done different things. So if I go back to my little example, you standing there, my brother, and you see me fumbling, and you be like, oh, I thought you knew how to do this. I said, yeah, I'm just kind of taking my time. Somewhere I have to say, no, I really don't know how to do this. I thought I did. I don't know how to do this. So now we building a relationship, and you said you may start out and say, well, you didn't know how to do it. Now I have confessed that I can't do it. I don't know how to do it. And then maybe you one that can do it, and you say, well, hey, listen, let me help you with this. And then, we build in that, and so maybe we'll get into that and start building that, and then maybe it works. But as we continue to interact with people, and as we interact, we'll use me and you. As I'm start interacting with me and you interact, I'm interacting with you. Then there comes a standard that we will set for each other, because we're trying to see where the integrity is, where the truthfulness is. Because when we say honesty and embracing these things, then all of that is entailed in that, but it can only be built. This is what I want to get us to understand. That's what I want you to plunder. When I say there'll be some power up moments, these are power up moments to consider. That the honesty that we're talking about here tonight is that which has to be built. And so it run along, trust is right behind it, right? You got honesty, and here come trust running right behind it. And so you have to build it. You just don't, and you have to build it with each person or each community or on your job. So if I'm at this job, they know I'm an honest person. We're going to just say that. But when I go to the next job, then they won't label me as an honest, trustworthy person. They may get a reference saying so, but I have not built. Each time you have to build that. So with each person that you encounter, with each job or each situation or each whatever you're going to do, you have to build that trust with the next person. So that's the reason we always go into something and to assess the situation of what's going on, right? Because I know what you said, but are you saying what you do? Because to me, I have learned as I have got younger that what you saying, that okay, what are you doing though? And that's important. Is what you're doing. You can go, man, you can lay it out. I have Google eyes and everything, and oh wow, and even you can wow. But if you never do nothing, if you never follow it up, now what? Because some people can really lay it down, and before you know it, they will have you, going in your wallet, giving you money, and so, but we have to be careful. We have to be careful. But my point in all of that is this: is honesty. I want you to know that it has to be built with a person, right? So that you are a honest person. And then there's honesty in areas that people choose to be honest in. Does that make you an honest person? When you choose different areas, does that make you an honest person? What is this? How can I present myself and know, right? And it starts with us. So if we can start with ourselves and practice with ourselves, then when we go out and encounter other people and encounter the community that we in, encounter those of the covenant, then that's a place that we are already walking in. Honesty. When you walk in honesty, honesty is a place of freedom, because when you walk in honesty, you don't have to worry about the storyline or what I said before, because if we are not telling those things. Now, I was going to say telling the truth, because sometimes we think of honesty because you tell, and we run it right, you telling the truth. Well, yes and no. And I want you to look at it this way too. You telling a truth. You telling your truth, right? Because nobody really know, right? So my truth is, at one time I used to live in Italy, right? Italy. So I was there. I used to live there. That's my truth. Now, when I come up to you and I tell you, you ask me, have you ever been abroad? And I say, yes, I used to live in Italy, right? So I have to be honesty has to follow through with that, you know. Oh yes, I used to live there, you know. And because you have no proof, you only go by what my words is or what I have said, right? That's all you have. And so now you building that. So when you encounter people or when you start a relationship, then you know you don't come right off and say no you haven't. You know you haven't lived there, and you said yes I have. You know. So my point is, you right away you take their word for it. Oh, you lived. Oh, yes, I lived. I lived in Italy, and then I could tell you some things about it. And then you come to the house, I can show you some of the stuff that I bought from Italy and all of that, right? So right now, I am building a case of my honesty, of my loyalty, of my truthfulness, of my uprightfulness, and in a place where I'm not leading people astray, right? Because of that. So you still do not have no concrete proof that I lived in Italy other than what I have said. Oh, yes, I showed you some artifacts or I showed you some things that we bought there, but you can buy those at the store, right? And you building that, right? So you start to build, and people around you, you build a certain amount of honesty every time, and then that honesty gets strengthened. You know, just like the muscles, they have to be strengthened. The honesty of someone has to be strengthened when when it's dealing with someone else, you know, or in that. Now, one of the things that uh, things with just like trust, like I say, now all of this, the synonyms, all of the words can run right behind that, but I'm just trying to stay on this English, I guess, honesty. I'm just trying to stay there because what it means in your actions is what I want to make sure that I bring out honesty in that. Now, if I tell you all of that and then, you know, somehow my wife come into the room and you say, oh, you know, Moray was just telling me how he lived in Italy. Did you live? Y'all lived in Italy? And she said, we never been to Italy. You know, we never been there. So now what happens is there is something is about to affect our relationship, and it affects the honesty that I'm trying to build or that it will be built, because honesty and trust, they're going to run together. And you're going to hear me say that several times, but I'm trying to do something with this honesty because that's something that we use. Are you honest or are you building that, you know? And so many times people don't address the fact that honesty has to be built. You know, I just don't meet you and say it's honest. All right. So here we go. Now, you may say to me, I thought you said your wife said y'all haven't been. I thought you was there. And I said, oh, well, well, you know, I want to go one day, my brother. And but you say you showed me all of this and you did all that. Yeah, I had some stuff around here. I just want I'm going to go one day though. You know, that's for sure. So now there's my credibility. It's not a total loss, but now I'm beginning to my the strength of my honesty with you is getting just a little light, right? It's getting a little light. And so then we tried to investigate. Was that a joke? Did you mean that? Well, why did you bring that up? Da 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 da. You know. So now my honesty is getting weaker, right? And I'm just using an example here. Now, if my wife would have came out and said, "Oh yeah, oh we had an excellent time when we lived there," right? So now what that does, it strengthens my honesty. Do you see that? It strengthens my honesty because now I have another witness, and now you say, okay, you're not, we are not analyzing the way that I'm using this. I'm using this to try to show us step by step, maybe how honesty might, another way of looking at it that I want you to look at will help you to develop to be an awesome, honest person with yourself first, and then move it into action with others later. This is where I'm going with it. And so once you do that, then that strengthens it in our relationship. Each time I interact with you and do things with you, then you are observing what I do in my life, and how I do it, in that. And then if as we interact, and more the stuff that I say comes to pass, or the stuff I say is true. And when I say true, I'm saying it's only true if I follow through with it. Now we know the word and all of that's true. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying the trustworthiness or being honest with one another. Where is that at? And so that has to be built. Now, you can build it to a point, and then maybe you're a person of your word and all of that, and then you are a trustworthy person. You feel as we interact, and then something happens. What if something happens? How much do that affect you as a honest person? Well, they used to say they're gonna do that. If I say I'm gonna come over and I'm gonna help you build a shed, you know, man, you was counting on me because I always there to help you build this shed. I'm there with you. I'm there for you, and then all of a sudden I don't come, and I, okay. Oh, well, when you gonna do that? I thought you was gonna do that. No, I thought you said, because you put all of your energy into it, and now I have been a person that has been, say, trustworthy, honorable, and being honest with you. Now, what I should have said, that if I didn't want to do the shed, then I should have let you know. And this is where the other problem come in with honesty, right? And you were saying, the different things is, here's something that I want us to understand here. And it's very important because I think as a people, I think sometimes when we come into the things of the Father, we're not really ready for honesty sometimes. And what I mean is not, some people say, oh, I'm just going to be honest. Some people want to be honest just we say this to tell you some things, but I'm not talking about that foolishness. I'm talking about is only thing that I had to do is tell you, I don't really feel like doing that shed. It's 106 degrees here in Texas, I want to help you, but I can't help you, in that. And just that's where the honesty come in at. But what happens to us is the other person, be like, oh, I wanted your help. I thought you was going to help me. I said, no, I'm just being honest with you. And because you want the relationship to continue to be in the area that it's in, we'll say it's a A1 relationship. And because you want that, sometimes we won't be honest because we want to continue to have that relationship. And then the best relationships, though, are honest relationships. But it's hard for us because now I feel offended because you don't want to help me with the shed, right? And then you was a person, I thought we was, and I'm being honest with you. So honesty works on the behalf of the other person that you was going to help them with the shed, right? So what happens is they should be able to say, oh, that's okay. I knew, my brother, if you wanted to help me, you would help me. And I know that you can't do it, But because of pressure, because of different things, then I tell you, oh, okay, I'll be down there to help you. Oh, yeah, I'll help you, and all that. And all the time I'm thinking that I'm not going to help you no way. That is affecting your honesty. And nobody may not know that but you. So just because you was an honest person on Tuesday doesn't mean you was going to be an honest person on Friday, you see. And so it can be situational. How much strength is it in the honesty? So I'm just really kind of just throwing it out there to make us realize these things, that we have to continue to embrace honesty day after day after day. So it is a daily walk. It's a daily walk with the Father. And so this is what we are betraying, sort of that character of being upright before Him. Now, brother, before I go any too much further, is that clarity, or you want a little bit more, or put some addition on it, and just to help me out here?
Oh, it's very clear. Very clear. I think you really brought out those points very well. Those are, I think that's something we should be striving for. And it brought up lots of things. It's funny. One of the first things you had said, I had wrote down in my notes, and it was awesome when you talked about the way I put it was making it a practice to live up to the standards you set for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So I think really brought that out because I believe when you gave your example about the engine, we may have all either done that or seen somebody do that or been in a situation where that happened. Next thing you know, this person's they took it apart very well, but the putting it back together isn't gonna
Right,
happen. You know,
right. Yeah, we all been there. Mm-hmm.
phone a friend comes in real quick, right? Um, but I really the last thing you said was really good because I think that's also a common place we probably have found ourselves in that whole place of like how to it's not like you're holding someone accountable and it's not like you're overlooking their dishonesty when you brought up that whole thing about the relationship. That was a very interesting place because like you said sometimes a relationship is it's so valuable that yeah you may call them on what they did like hey remember last time you lied about that or whatever ha 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 but the reality is you didn't forget it. You didn't forget that this person was making a practice of being dishonest.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that that was definitely really good. Also, I like what you said about yes, the telling the truth is there, but with the relationships, uh, when when somebody does fail to embrace honesty, how it does breach the relationship. It causes like a gap, you know, and like you mentioned, their credibility going down. I think also their reliability can go down too, because now I don't believe this person is as capable as they make themselves out to be. And that can be really dangerous in a relationship where you're relying on someone and, you know, like the whole idea, can you pull me back in the boat? Oh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I'm drowning. It's like, oh, I'm not strong enough to do it, but you said you were. You know, now I'm in a situation where it's just going to be bad. But I think a lot of what you said is awesome things that we should embrace. I like what you kind of hinted at having a good reputation, and I think that was really good because that's that's better than riches, you know. And one thing you also hinted at was really good was a proof of fulfillment, like a proof of your word,
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
the type of person that would be like what you described in that story. Somebody may say they did something, and what? Why do I need to disbelieve them? You know, I have no reason to say they didn't do what they said they did. So I'm just gonna, you know, like it's not in my heart to now be skeptical and now prove them that they didn't do what they said they did. But like you said, if the instance comes up where it turns out they may not have been as honest as they should have, that's going to be a problem because I think promise keeping to me is one of the biggest qualities in that honesty element that you brought up, and I just think we rely on people to do that. So when you brought those things out, it really did strike a chord with me. You know, like, and then the root of it is why. You know, are we trying to impress? You know, like why would those dishonest moments even occur? Like why they're unnecessary completely. So I think what you said was very clear, and you know I'm excited to hear what you have to say next.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to attach myself to your last few words there. Is the fact that it is unnecessary, right? When you work in honesty, when you work in uprightness, it's easy. That's the point. It's easy because I do not have to impress anybody when I'm honest, right? That's what causes us to go into other areas when we trying to oppress or we trying to impress, should I say, or try to make ourselves more than what are able to deliver, right? And when I can just be me, and in being me, I start to be honest with myself, you know. So if I'm in school and I'm having they give you grades, and in those grades, if I'm starting to have failing grades, then I have to be honest with myself to figure out that, oh, I'm okay, or oh, I'm doing great, right? Before anybody else is involved, you know. But I'm failing. I am failing. And if I continue down this same road, I'm going to continue to fail. You say fail that class. So I have to do something about it. I cannot say I am doing enough, you know, or I'm doing enough, or I'm doing my best, or are you doing your best? These are the questions only that person can answer that, you know. I'm giving my all. I hear that a lot. I'm giving my all. I didn't say it, right? If I'm honest with myself, am I really giving my all though? Because the things is if I am not uh confident, if I'm not secure in honesty with myself, I would never be honest with you, right? I have to that's where the practice field is with me. So if I'm failing in that class, then what I need to do if I have failing grade, I need to bring that up. I need to assess why I'm in this place. Instead of say, oh, I'm okay. I ain't failing. I mean, you said I okay. But they that's a D. You going downhill, right? You know. Well, you don't know, but I'm an A student. No, that's a D. So you're gonna have to do something in order to bring that up, you know. So the honesty in every area, you can always apply it. I want you to try this. Those of you that may listen to this or listening to it, in every area you can apply honesty in it. So in order for me to make a better grade, I had to say, yeah, I am failing. So I sometimes I have to agree with it, right? I have to agree with what's going on, you know. Even if I say I'm 6 foot tall, you know, knowing that I'm 5'10", right? I have to be in order for me to say get the right length of pants. I can't keep getting 6 foot length. You know what I'm saying? But I have to get the people that get 5'10" length. You know. So what I'm saying on the little thing, on just things like that, I have to be honest with myself. You know, in that, you know, outside of motivating myself to do something. Other words, you know, you could say if I'm going to run a mile, you know, something like that. And I know in that running that mile, you know, there's one thing to say, oh, I can run that. That ain't nothing to it. Versus I am going to do my best to run this mile. Right. And so that's being honest with myself versus ain't no problem. And then I don't succeed, you know, because it can hinder you in different areas. So the thing is to be honest, whatever it is, whatever you're going to do, to be honest with yourself. And then it will run over to be honest with others, especially, you know, especially in a, especially if you're married or among the assemblies or whatever, is when you start being honest with one another, you know, because what happens is when you're not, and then when you start finding out that not only did you didn't go to Italy, but you didn't go to Georgia, you didn't go to North Carolina, you didn't go to, you're a person now that has developed something else, right? I can't, you know, I don't know what you're saying. I'm not here to condemn you or to judge you, but in the judge you in the sense of not you, but your word is not so. You know, you say you're going to all these places and you haven't been there. But the only way that I know this is I interact with you, you know. Once you meet somebody, that's the best place that they're going to ever be. When you are introduced to somebody, that's the best place to ever be. Hi, how you doing? Fine, and how are you? My name is so and so. Oh yeah, how you? And yes, and then you getting to know them. Then there comes another point of contact where we say you start in this relationship. When you start a relationship with somebody, that's when these things start to develop. You know. So when I say truth or say those things, then we have to be able to maintain honesty with ourselves, right? And if we maintain honesty, then it clears up all, right, all of the tension in the relationship. You know, you can take that to husband and wife, all of the misunderstanding, you know. So if you can be honest with your wife and your wife can be honest with you, you 90% successful. But what happens is the different feelings get in the way of that. And sometimes we're not prepared for that. You we not if you really told you, you're not prepared for that, you know. And then we are making sure that we are not a destructive people. So just because, oh, I'm gonna be honest and I'm gonna tell you, there is a way. Now I'm not talking about that part. Okay, there is a way. I ain't talking about just going. I'm talking, and I'm not talking about not telling them, but I'm talking about being honest with yourself and then producing and doing honesty with others, you know, in that. So if you're going to tell somebody what we say about yourself, then make sure that you have a solution. Did you hear what I'm saying to you? Make sure that you have a solution. If you just tell somebody, oh, you need to, wash your hair. You know, every time I see you, your hair is dirty. You know, have a solution to that. Okay, that could be a true, honest statement. But say, you know what? I see your hair, and I'm just telling you, I got these products over here, and I don't know if you ever tried these shampoos or whatever. Let me get to help you to let's go ahead and see what we can do with these products. I think that this would do something better for your hair, you know, and that was just off the top of my head. So, other words, have a solution for it, you know, in that, because maybe the hair is dirty, but have a solution instead of just going in and tearing down without being able to reconstruct. So if you ever go in to do something, always be ready to uplift. Other words, reconstruct whatever you're going in to do. I'm telling you something about relationships here. The same thing with husbands and wives. You have to build that thing of trust and honesty, you know, in that. So, and even though that sometimes it seems to fall short of that, you can still build. It can build strong enough that when something does happen, it won't affect it, you know, when something happens. So if you can lift 200 pounds with one arm, right? When you when somebody come and you know grab your arm that's 25 pounds, it doesn't affect you because you can do 200. You up to 200 now. The 25 is not going to affect me, you know, in that. And so it's building that relationship that you have, a building a redoing a relationship here. Let me see what I had. And so then what I'm saying is you have to practice honesty daily, right? You know, because you'll slip into something else and we have a tendency to destroy what we have built. Okay, I'm gonna give you time to write that down. We have a tendency to destroy what we built, right? You know, so what you are building now continually to build on that. But it must be a foundation of honesty though, right? And so we talking word here. I know I ain't pull out a scripture here. I can pull out one here, but listen, we talking about a foundation here of that. That should be your desire, that should be your goal, should be honesty with yourself first. If you're not honest with yourself, you are not honest with others, right? What you are doing is you pleasing others, right? You pleasing others when you're not honest with yourself. You pleasing others when you're not honest with yourself, right? So hold on to honesty. It is very, very important, right? So we have to encourage one another to be honest. We promote honesty, right? We started at a young age to promote that. Those that's among us, right? In our culture, because you got trust there. It's the same thing, but we are using embracing honesty on tonight, right? It has to be genuine, and I mean it can really bring about a solid foundation when you know that the person is honest, you know. And like I had put aside about not telling you the truth, is in that umbrella of honesty is so much more. So honesty is definitely that means that place of contacts of communication, right? When you have that communication, it needs to be in honesty, right? With solution, because if it's not, then it's an attack, right? It's an attack, and it takes time and effort, right? And I'm just saying that times and effort to do that. Now, when you honest, then your credibility goes up. That factor goes up when you honest, right? And then everything around you, when your credibility, if you're at your job, and all of that, and sometimes it can cause you to be promoted in different things. You definitely don't want nobody honestly handling your money, right? You don't want that at all. So then what it takes though is this also. This is good. If you get ready to, this another power up moment. Honesty, right? It involves responsibility though. So you have to be responsible for what you say. Because if you're not, it's going to affect your honesty. So you have to be responsible for what you say. If you don't, it will affect it. So your actions will affect your honesty. What you say will affect your honesty as well, right? So admitting now this is under this umbrella, right? So even though I did something, what honesty and truth does is it admits or admitting that it was wrong. That is necessary to have accountability of the consequences, right? So that's the same thing what we use in our scripture. The Father used the same thing with us, right? We do something, we repent, teshuvah, we turn from that, right? It's the same concept, right? In this honesty and in this relationship, but listen, with one another, the same thing if we transgress with one another, all of that, right? And so it is vital that we have honesty in order to build our communities, in order to build our culture, in order to serve the Most High in that. So, brother, I'm gonna let you get right back in there again, and while you talking, I'm gonna catch up on my notes here.
Yes, sir. Well, I think you laid it all out there very well, and I really like that part that you said about destroying what we built. I don't know why that happens, but I do think there's a piece of it in what you said. All of those traits of honesty that you were bringing up, that's a caring person. I don't know how you can be, and I'm not saying people can't do it, but I just really believe what you're saying is I hear people say sometimes I don't care. Well, I don't think a person who embraces honesty can live that way. They're the way that they embrace being upright before the Father causes them to care, and that's why everything they do is so genuine. So that was a really good thing that you said about let's be a problem solver, not a problem starter. Oh man, that right there hits home because I
Hmm.
think when that careless place, there goes honesty, and now it's kind of like losing the board game, and I'm going to flip the whole board now because it's not going my way. I thought I was going to go my way, And it seems like a lot of that, when you were talking about how unnecessary it is with lying, it comes off as self-preservation. Like sometimes we care more about how people see us than how we actually are. And I really just don't understand that. Because the honest person, like what you were saying, they embrace who they are, but they don't they masquerade as who they aren't. And I really believe that is a power up, because self acknowledgement, acknowledging your shortcomings, is a strength.
Yes, it
And those
is.
weaknesses don't mean that you're completely void of strength. It just means there's an area to become stronger. And I think what you were saying and embracing honesty, it can cause those areas to be exposed. Because now where I used to put my mask on and be ungenuine, now I could take it off. And like you said, I can voice myself kindly, so I don't need to tear you down to voice myself. And I wish that was something that was very popular when I was growing up, because it was always considered, um, how can I say, something that people could overlook. They can overlook somebody chewing you up just because in their eyes they're saying the truth. And I don't believe that that's a good way to do it. I like that if I'm going to voice myself kindly, I'm also going to bring constructive elements into the discussion. I'm not just going to tell you off and then not also talk about improvement, because this is a relationship. And I really like what you were saying. I really get built up by that, because that's what's in my heart as well. Is okay, well, if you're going to offer me a more excellent way, then give me a more excellent plan. Because I didn't get here in error. I got here honestly. So I think sometimes assuming that somebody isn't deceitful or that they have nefarious means behind what they do is really important. And I believe honest people do that. They give people a chance. So I think everyone should have that ability to give someone a chance. Give them a chance to make those improvements. Don't just assume they'll never do it. I believe that's just very careless. And like what you said about being responsible for what you say, that's something that I really do believe is one of the highest traits, because I've seen it from multiple levels of authority. The most impressive thing for me is when a person of authority owns up to a shortcoming. And sometimes the thing that they consider this grand, egregious crime was minuscule in the eyes of the people who acknowledge them as a leader. So that to me just goes to show how genuine that person's mind and their heart is, because I think they're willing to show themselves approved, by doing that. And I think that's something that that's what we offer. I mean, especially the leaders, that's what they offer. They're showing themselves approved by doing that, because only they know where they were short. It's between them and the Father in that sense. So if they decide to unveil or uncover this area of shortness, I think that is awesome, in the sense that, hey, I may have been off, or that may not have been as accurate as it should have been, or I could have said that better. Things like that. I really do like that, because I'm learning the way you say things matters. It's a practice, but you really do want to speak in a way that's upbuilding. And I believe this honest picture to which is being painted right here, I think like what you're saying definitely highlights those things, because when you brought up that whole idea about being taller, that was something that it just seems like it's one of the most popular things. If I got to get my ankle stretcher out, it's just everybody wants to be like 4 inches taller, and then their life would be perfect. Well, it's like, okay, well, why can't it be perfect right now where you at? Like you may have climaxed your growth chart. So why is it that we would think that if I gain that one thing, then I'll be better, or I'll tell the truth when XYZ. Was like, okay, well, why don't we put him to practice telling the truth about our height? Then like I won't have to stand on my tiptoes every time you take a picture. And no, but I'm saying. There there's a I love that, and I think sometimes I believe most people do. Most people find that character attractive in a person that's just honest about them. And I don't mean that they're putting people down. They just happen to embrace who they are, and I really love that because in I believe in the walk with the Father, identity is huge.
Hmm.
It's a huge part of who we are, and being that seed of Abraham, that gives us an area for us to then put forth those good acts, embrace that honesty, and do righteous acts, that are going to show ourselves, like I said earlier, approved. And I just really enjoyed what you just said. It definitely built me up. I got some things I can definitely remember in those times where they matter most, because I believe what you said about relationships, that's the key. I hope our hearts never get to a place to where we want to just. I think it says something about the righteous woman builds up her house, but the
Hmm.
wicked woman tears it down with her own hands. With her own hands. So the idea for me is all like those same hands that build. We should just never use them to destroy. And I think what you were bringing out is awesome. So I praise y'all for that.
Yeah, hallelujah. I think that the honesty that we can continue to do, right, with more, hopefully, this would help us to build in certain areas that others will see our honesty as well, and like I said, just because something didn't quite line up, we can always fix that though. That's called relationship. Even though we didn't miss it, but in order to be fair with it, if because we there's ways that we get out of it. It said, okay, I want you. I'm gonna come by your house tomorrow at 9 o'clock. Well, you wanted to sleep in, right? So, and I say, is that okay? And you say, oh yeah, that's okay. But your honesty meter is saying I wanted to sleep in, right? So this is what needs to come out, because if it don't, then it'll affect you. I get at your house and you ain't even out to bed yet. That's you know what I'm saying. It's like, what are you doing now? You got an attitude because I really wanted to sleep in, but you wanted to come over. So it helps to build that relationship more solid. Say, oh, brother, say I was gonna sleep in because I care for you. I said, oh, okay, no problem. Maybe we can do it at another time. What time you getting up? In that, so you don't have to you don't have to obligate yourself to be, like you were saying earlier, somebody that you are not. Now here's a challenge for us, is to find out who we really are though, you know? And when I say that, I know we in the kingdom, but are we trying who the honesty, when you start dealing with yourself, when you start practicing this, you will find out in yourself. You'll start with yourself and you'll find out, uh-oh, I'm a new person. Your mind will start to be transformed. Hallelujah. It'll be transformed. Because you would be like, okay, I really don't have to satisfy everybody. You understand? So we can have a relationship, but it's difficult because we are people that they train you in the best. If you salesman, if you this, I mean, it's just trained up like that. Not saying that none of that is honesty. That's not my point. My point is we are geared to when somebody else says certain things, right, then they really don't care, or they really don't love us, or they don't really do this. When somebody is really being honest with that, and just say, I do not feel like doing that, you know, and all of that. Now, some of it, we do just because I don't feel like it. I'm gonna be honest. I don't feel like doing such and such. No, the thing is, if you choose, and this is an honest person, even though that you was gonna sleep in, if you choose to say no, come on over, and I was thinking, oh man, I was gonna sleep in, but we gonna deal with it. This is what I'm thinking. You didn't get that. My honesty is I'm gonna be there for you when you come there. Versus Oh, I take that all the way home with me. Oh man, he coming over. I don't know about all that. I don't know. And I get in there and you barely woke up and you sitting around with your head all down. What's wrong, brother? Well, I'm just tired. Well, why did you? That's the difference. I'm saying that's just an example, right? So there is still the integrity of the honesty. I mean, it just that honesty word, that English one, but it covers so much. And let me drop this real quick in the sense of uprightness, right? I'm not. I'm gonna have this because I'm just gonna highlight it, and those of you that listening or there can maybe jot this down. Psalms 11:7 says something to this effect, and I'm just gonna highlight it, and then you could go back and read it yourself. He loves righteousness; the upright seeks His face. So whose face? They seek in Yah's face. Psalms 32:11. Your righteousness shouts for joy. Other words, your honesty is what I want to put in there. The righteousness, uprightness shouts for joy. All you upright in heart, all you honesty in heart, right? And so and not changing that, but letting you know that that's the umbrella of all things. Psalms 33:1 says, your righteousness praise is well suited to the upright, right? So to the honest, those that are honest, those that are upright. Psalms 36:11 says something to the fact, know you that your righteousness is to the upright in heart. Psalms 37:14, poor and needy to the slander those who ways is upright. Psalms 49:15, the shepherd, the upright will rule them in the morning, right? And it has some more. I'm just, once you write them down, please go back and reread them. I just got a little list here that I wanted to go through quickly, where we'll be able to see that the foundation of our scriptures are even there in order to serve him. Proverbs 3:32, but he snares. And I think I'm reading out of the CJB in that. I think that's what it is. Let me see. Psalms, what I say, 3:32. But but he snares his secret counsel with the upright, right? Psalms 10:39, 29, I'm sorry, is a stronghold to the upright, but runs to those who do evil, right? To do evil. And then I like this one, Proverbs 11:3, integrity of the upright guides them. So so your honesty should be able to guide you. So this is what I'm kind of putting in here and kind of extracting from these verses. Proverbs 14:2, a person with upright, other words, a person with honesty. They fear Yah, right? They fear him. Proverbs 14:9, right? But among the righteous or among the upright, there is goodwill. So I'm injecting honesty, right? Among the honesty, there is goodwill. Proverbs 15:19. But the path of the honest, those that are honest, and it says upright in this particular version, it is a level highway, right? It's a level highway. The highway of the it says upright, but of the honesty. So that's my point. So my point is it is all over there, right? In that self-control. I was trying to find another one here. The upright. Okay, Acts 10 and 22. And the upright man, the honest man fears. Other words, he fears Elohim. He fears him, and that's a man of honor. So when you're a person of honor, honesty, then you're a person of honor, right? In that, so it's just beautiful how we will incorporate and continue to build honesty. We need to embrace honesty, right? Self reflection. That's what I want to do. Start with you. Self awareness. Start what you are aware of the things that you do that's not upright. Okay, use that. Not upright. you know. So embrace those things and then do something about them. Just don't recognize something, but once you recognize it, then you do something about it. Because if you embrace this, then you're going to embrace growth. You're going to embrace the change. You know, the best thing that a husband and wife can tell one another is to be honest with one another. You know, and then what happens is we done built so much dishonesty that if you went in and start being honest, oh my, oh my. So that would be wisdom. That would be wisdom. You need wisdom in this, right? And same thing, relationship, not just a husband and wife, but relationship. Because what dishonestly does, it puts you in a place of deception, right? It puts you there, and that's where we don't want to be. Don't want to be in a place like that at all. Let me see if I can find that. Don't want to be in a place at all. Okay, it ain't moving for me. All right, well, that's all right. All right, I was trying to move something on my mouse here, but I got two or three of them going down. So this is the transformation journey. The transformation journey is we somehow on this half of it want to be able to um, interject, live a upright, honest life, right? So we're gonna embrace it, right? That's what we need to do. We're gonna embrace it because if we embrace it, we're embracing growth. We're embracing others, true in the sense of truth of what we are saying, what we are doing, and of course, always the truth of the word. But we want to encourage this as a practice in your assemblies or with one another, with your wife, all of these things, right? All of these things are practice. This is what we need to do, right? These are the things that we need to do and have those things. And if we do that, we can do it, right? It's definitely something that we can do. All right. Also, to be authentic in the things that we do as well. All of it is there. You know, all of it will be there. Okay, I think that's about what I had down. Let me see here. Yeah. Um, so the mistakes, I think I mentioned that, didn't I? The mistakes and the failures, right? That's part of that honesty if you handle it right. So you could put it in the same line of being, being forgiven, in the same in those same lines in that. So all of that works together. All right, my brother, you want to jump right in there for some final words?
Thank you. And I just again highlighting that last part I think is super key. You also mentioned something about really good about not seeking to satisfy
Mm-hmm.
like other sense. Wow, that to me that just hits really hard because I believe we live in a place where you you can find a lot of reward for dishonesty. That's the other thing about it. A lot of people will reward you for the people pleasing. They'll reward you for the unnecessary lying. You know, there's a lot of people who will offer um, position and power for those who aren't honest. But I
Correct.
do think
Correct.
like what you just said would really fly in the face of that and prove um, who we really are, or who we say we are, who we should be. When you were talking about in that sense, being that person who doesn't need to. I don't need to make everyone else's day in that sense by pleasing them. But like in your example, um, I wanted to sleep in. All I need to do is just be honest about that. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's the you can still hold your relationships and how can I say? I guess I don't know how to say it. It's like you can hold your ground without ruining everything. I don't
Correct.
really know how to word that, but sometimes people they'll give up their position, a good position, just because they want to serve. To no, I don't want to say serve, but it's more in that area of pleasing. They're doing something they didn't want to do. And I don't mean it in the sense of a service, because there are sometimes you got to serve, but I mean we don't always have to seek to be a people pleaser. Is the goal of what I'm trying to say. And I think like what you were saying is really good in that sense of that upright in heart. That's something I think is like one of the number one goals, um, that we should have, is that be that genuine upright person. Like that's why I opened it up with saying that the first thing I liked about anything is transparency. I really think upright in heart is that it symbolizes that transparency to me. And I really believe, um, if those are the things we want to leave behind us, all that those good things, uh, that would follow. I believe if we were the type of person that sowed upright behavior, righteous acts, being a genuine person, and actually keeping our word and promises, I just I just think that's really, what good thing is anyone going to be able to accuse you of, you know, if
Right,
that's the things
absolutely.
we do with others. So I really believe, even all those Psalms you had dropped on us about the upright in heart, obviously, like you said, it's a scriptural foundation. And I think it said that Yeshua opened their minds to understand these writings. So obviously he had to go over these, about the upright in heart. So I really believe like what you're bringing out is awesome, and it was very clear, and it definitely represents the type of person in the kingdom that we should all strive to be. So it's just really good to have another moment to reflect on those things. And I like what you said also about, that was it, I lost it, about being able to start again. I remember when I first met you, that was one of the most powerful things I ever heard in my life, because they always tell you, the wind and the waves came and your house is destroyed, and then they leave you right there. But like you had brought up, it's like you got to have something constructive. So what do? You rebuild, except this time you build on the rock.
Yes,
Build.
hallelujah.
So when it's all said and done, if the dishonesty was that sand life, you're going to get those sand results, and everything is going to be torn down. But you have an opportunity to be a person who is righteous in what they hear, what they say, and what they do. And I believe that's that lifestyle of honesty and uprightness before the Most High, which if you think no man sees, he sees. Yah always sees. So I don't think we should veil ourselves with a cloak of deception, but be those people of the light that we've been called to be, which when the shadows behind you in that sense. So I'm excited about what you brought out here, and definitely I like what you said. Start with yourself, and something you had said is really good. I don't want to be a person of empty speech. So I like that. If you can say if you can bring out those possibilities, we should also have a place of fulfillment in it. So I really like everything you had said, and it just really hits home. I think it was clear, very clear.
All right, all right. I'm going to attach myself to your words again, in the fact that it all, when we serve in the Most High, right? This was important here. This honesty with yourself, the one of the keys, not the only key. Well, it is the main key to me. The thing is you had mentioned about the Father. If you're not going to be honest with the Father, I don't have a chance, right? I don't have a chance. If you're not going to be honest with the Father, you'll never be honest with yourself. So the strength of that is being honest with the Father. Because if you're not honest with me, right? It's just like not being honest with the Father. When I say me, I'm talking about anybody, right? When we're not being honest with one another, let's put it that way. because I wouldn't want nobody to take that wrong. You are not being honest with the Father because, just like you said, my brother, he hears all things, he knows all things. But you'll never be an honest person if you so liberally dishonor the Father. So a lot of times it's not so much as, oh, the Hasatan or the enemy got me. What is your relationship? Is your relationship a relationship with honesty with the Father? And what really shook me about even that when I thought about it, I'm honest with you, Father. Is like, why wouldn't I be honest with him? Because I'm not getting away with nothing, when it comes to that. I'm not getting away. So he wants us to be a people of uprightness, a people of trustworthiness, a people that trust, a people that has integrity, a people that their highlight is honesty. The power that they embrace is honesty, right? So we can't like skip over all the honesty when we need that to travel this walk, to travel this way. But most of all, we have to be honest with the Most High, right? Oh, you can tell me those things just like I mentioned. Oh, I went to Italy and all that. Well, the Father knew it when I began to say it that I didn't go, right? He already knew that. The person you talking to, you deceiving, you trying to impress and all that, you ain't the Father already knows what you're doing, right? Those things are already there. And we should come to a point of shamefulness if we can't be honest with one another, because that entails not being honest with the things of the Father, because by us representing him in that spot, we say we belong to him, we in covenant with him, he's my Father, I serve him, I am his servant. His servants are servants of honesty, right? And so we can begin to practice those things to develop ourselves to be strengthened, but most of all. So if your struggle is a struggle with honesty, your struggle is a struggle being honest with the Most High. And that's where you need to begin to start. So you could come to a time of repentance even now. But I go back to the doing. You have to do it. Okay, repent. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. You cry a little bit, fall out, but the next day you cannot go do the same thing. I told the old lady, said, go sin no more. Told the woman, don't sin no more. That was a designated point. Don't go practice that thing again, right? So we have to turn around in order for those things to be. Not doing the same thing over and over and over and over again. So I want to be that person. I'm going to tell you, there's shalom in that. You don't have to worry about what you said the day before and all that. You can tell somebody, because it'd be like, listen, this is that. And it's like, if you can't, this is me. And if you don't like that, then, hey, I don't like to go, I don't know, boat riding. And you'd like to go to boat riding, right? I don't like to go. Well, if you're not going to be engaged with me because I don't boat ride, then I won't boat ride, because I'm going to be honest with you, right? I'm not going to be dishonest with you just to keep the relationship where we can go boat riding. I don't boat ride. But if that's the only connection that we have as brothers and sisters, if I go boat riding with you or not, then we won't have no relationship, right? So that's the reason I can be who I am. You free to be you, right? You free to be you. But most of all, be honest with the things of the Father, right? That's what we have to be in that. So my brother, those that are, we have some that's definitely in our own hearts and in our house. Those that are in hospitals, and those that have lost the ones that's dear to their heart. we want to let you know that we'll continue to pray for you and those of you that are in the room or maybe even listen to this. If there's something truly that's going on in your life, and sometimes those trials and those different things come to interrupt the everyday flow that we have, just know that we continue to pray for one another and continue to hold one another up in that. And so, whatever we desire to do, even in recovery, those that are recovering, those that have parents that's recovering, and all of those things there, right? And so, wherever you find yourself at a time like this, just be a honest. If you be honest with yourself, wherever that might be, right? You can get to quicker to a healing process, even, right? It even brings, I mean, we could go on, but we can't because of time's sake. But it'll bring about a healing. So I want to encourage you and build you up to know uh, that the Father will strengthen you in all things. He'll strengthen you in all things in the area that you need it. He knows what you need at this time. And most of all, there would be somebody to hold up. Moshe had somebody to hold up his arms, right? Hold up his arms. So not only will he strengthen you, but the brethren, sister, and we should be able to strengthen one another as well physically. And so remember that, we can be honest, be motivated, embrace it, know that it's a lifelong situation. So embrace it. You will get the rewards, hallelujah, of shalom, the rewards of being a light in the earth. And that is your purpose of existence. All right, my brother. Thank you so very much for riding along, and look forward to, of course, I'll probably be talking to you right after this, huh? Shalom to the whole house. Those of you still in the room, shalom.
Oh.